Good day, everyone, and welcome to a special segment of Business Acumen with Cross-Cultural Talks. Today's show features one of my beautiful sister friends who is a holistic wellness coach, otherwise known as a Certified Integrative Nutrition Coach. She is the matriarch of a military family and founder of Mind Over Food. Transformative information on the path to wellness for clients of all ages and sizes. Please welcome Mr. Stefen Thompson. All right, so Stefen, thank you for joining us on this episode. I wanted to let you know why I asked you to join or come on to Business Acumen with Cross Cultural Talks. I asked you to come on because I was watching your journey, and I've seen some of your ebbs and flows through social media, right? So people feel like they know each other from watching social media. But having had a connection with you for longer than 4 years, because I went to Jeb Stewart, which was across the street from your grandmother's house.
Yeah.
And so having then reconnected with you in high school, and then you moved, and so that was my way of like being able to see you without being able to interact all the time. I noticed that over the past several months, you have had such a triumphant journey, and I wanted to be able to celebrate that on a more public platform. So I wanted you to come on and to talk to us about your story, because you have a unique story, unlike any other guest we've had, and that you are also a military wife. You have to manage a home with a large family, a career, your own goals and aspirations, and try to live a well life. And so I wanted you to come on and share what that looks like.
Thank you so much. Like, I just feel like it's like a big reunion when I see you. I just love you.
I
Especially
love you too.
like sitting like down a couple of rows of seats from the clarinet section.
Come on.
When you was tooting that horn, and so from
You
one row.
were clarinet too? Wait, what?
I know I was, but I was
You were
like the first
co-lead.
year. I was like the maybe third, fourth, or
That's not the point. You were co-lead on in the section. It's not, it doesn't matter now. Wait a minute now.
but yeah, but you were my right hand man. I just
Yeah.
love it. I just love it. And now seeing you graduating and doing the thing, I'm just so proud of you. I'm just so proud. I'm just
Thank you.
so proud of you.
I'm
Coming
proud of
from
us.
JB Stewart, all the way up into city life to county life, and now motherhood and career goals and stuff. And I'm just really, really proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Likewise. I'm proud of us. I feel like this generation, we are a part of a pretty phenomenal generation.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that I get a chance to share this dispensation in time with other great people. To tell you the truth, greatness is infectious. So I'm glad I caught that bug.
Let me get some.
Isn't that the truth? So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and how did you get to, in terms of location, where you are now?
Okay. Well, who I am, I'm just a silly old girl from Richmond, Virginia, that basically ended up marrying the love of my life, Deshaun, my husband from high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, throwback. So we've been together for 16 years, and halfway into, like, let's say about 3 to 4 years in that journey, he decided to join the Navy. We got married, and then the Navy brought us out here to San Diego. So I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I am a volunteer. I volunteer a lot in the community, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm just really, really blessed, and just life travels gets me here. Sometimes when I'm saying that I am, and figure out who I am, I'm always changing. I'm always reconfiguring. So any day I'm someone else, you know, and any minute I'm playing a different role. So it's difficult sometimes to pinpoint exactly who I am in that moment. But right now I'm doing an interview and I'm talking to one of my best girlfriends, and it's just, that's who I am right now. I'm just a sharer.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Shaka Khan, I'm every woman.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that's good. When did you all get stationed to go to California?
We got stationed in 2010. So we were together, it's coming up 16 years now. So in 2010, and by the way, he decided to go take the ASVAB. I was taking it at first. And then he was like, no, I'll take it. And then like take the practice test.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, he practiced, he scored really good. The next thing you know, all the recruiters were starting to look at him, and I'm just like, okay. And out of nowhere, him and my best friend at the time took the test. I had no knowledge whatsoever. And then one day he just came with the packet and was like, what do you think about me joining the Navy? And I was like, I guess, you know, I'm still trying to lose the weight to get in. And he's just like, yeah. And then he just drops his papers and was like, you know, they want me to sign up, and here's the test scores. I had tested really high, and what do you think? And I was just like, amen, let's go. So, yeah.
Cool. So did you want to join you wanted to join the military, but what branch did you want to join?
So initially I wanted to join the Air Force. So that's what I was pursuing, and got all the background, got everything going in good, and I just couldn't make the weight. I just couldn't make the weight. I was juggling the babies and things like that, and I just couldn't do it. And then initially he was joining the Air Force too. And then something went astray with the paperwork and the recruiter. And then the Navy was like, we want you. So that's how he decided to go with the Navy.
That's awesome. So by the time you all became a military family, a couple, you were already a family? You had already had one
Absolutely.
of the babies? Okay.
Absolutely. We had already had two.
Okay, and so because normally I just remember you being very healthy because you're an athlete just by nature. So when you were saying you were struggling to make the weight, then I just, I never knew that struggle for you because you were always so active. And so now I understand it's because you were losing the baby weight, not necessarily your pre-baby.
Yeah, but even being an athlete, like after you're done being an athlete, most people find the weight like sticks on because you're not running, you're not your eating habits are mindful, but they're just not great. Like you can get away with eating a bucket of fried chicken and just like gorging yourself. I've always been known for being a massive foodie. So I would eat it, anything and everything. And I was taught that you never say no to someone who is offering you food when you go over to someone's house or anything like that. So having that as an adult, it started to add up a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's bad manners. You're taught in the South that it's bad manners to turn down someone's food, especially if you're in their home.
Yes. Or say, oh, not today. They will like basically force feed you.
That's a lot of cultures, though. I think that's just across the diaspora. That's the way that people show, express, and share love.
Right.
When you all got the orders to leave, that must have been something really big because you were leaving so many things that were important to you, a support system, someone to help you take care of the babies, to be a military wife in a completely different part of the United States. And so what did that feel like for you?
Well, one, I was super excited. It was my request to come out all the way to San Diego. Yes, really, because I always loved to travel and I wanted to travel. I wanted to be in the military. So, you know, that was something that I wanted to explore and see. And I didn't really have the thought or idea that I would be leaving my support system. That never really, I guess being young and not really just the excitement of it all, like, oh, I'm moving to California, woo, hoo, hoo, you know, and then also I left home at 16 and going to college in Baltimore at the age of 17. And always been known in my family as, oh, that's BG. They call me that for baby girl. Oh, that's BG. She got it. You know, she'll figure it out. And when we lived together, me and my husband, when we lived together, we moved all the way out to Short Pump, you know, and always kind of been detached because I was raised by my grandmother, you know, and I never really had, I've had a support system. I just never really used it. I never used the support system. I never would reach out like, oh God, please help me. You know, I always just kind of like just grunted and just figured it out, you know, like, so when it was moving to California, I was just like, okay, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. But not having that gratitude of I could, you know, until I got out here. And then like I used my best friend, you know, I had a different support system there where I had friends, not so much family, but well, family. I call that family, you know. And I would use that resource more so than like parents or grandmothers and, you know, those things. And I didn't really equate all of that. So it didn't shock me. I have like a little delayed response. It didn't shock me until like maybe 9 months, 10 months into the move where like, when I say like it got real, you know, but, and when I moved over to San Diego, I started to notice like, wait a minute, I'm not talking to the same people every day, you know. I don't know where the store is, you know. I don't know like where I'm going. I'm getting lost. I'm frustrated. Like I can't just walk over to my neighbor's house who I've known for years, you know, and get a break. So I just started using my resources and things like that, that I had available, like just reaching out to a neighbor, hey, how are you? You know, and just started talking to people. But it was really hard and it was really lonely, getting over to San Diego, especially seeing my husband having his sailors, his, you know, his shipmates and things. And I had no one, and kind of had to be forced into relationships with people I don't know. Just basically, oh, this is so-and-so's girlfriend, or this is so-and-so's wife. You can sit with her and chill with her for a while and y'all figure some things out. And so I just kind of like put my all into my children. So it was not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember just off camera, you were telling me, and I hope you don't mind that I brought it up now, you were telling me how ultimately, especially living on base, you were kind of thrust into unrealistic expectations of like what a military wife, and how sometimes you felt compelled to have your home a certain way or to behave a certain way, and that's kind of out of character for you, someone who's so free and charismatic. So do you mind telling us a little bit about that experience and what you ended up going through?
Yeah, so it's almost like once you get married and you're on military establishment, first it's almost like, okay, is subsidized living, first of all. And that was new for me, to have to abide by like check-ins to see if your house was clean, or like to have your grass cut a certain way, or you know, to have the upkeep of your home checked and evaluated. I didn't know what that was like. And then seeing other wives and them like constantly like sweeping their porches and like all like when we get in a little huddle, because we would get like, you know, we'll see one outside and then the next day, you know, like a couple of the wives would just start to come in come out from their house onto the street, and they'll talk and they'll be like, oh, well, I'm cleaning this and I'm making this dinner and I'm doing this, and you know, then I'm gonna go grocery shopping. They were just like always so busy, like just like do this, do that, do this, do that. And I kind of wanted that. I was like, oh yeah, okay, you know, at first. And I was like, all right. And then next day, you know, like we would go back out the next day, and then they're like, I'm cleaning this and I'm cleaning that. And it's just like, okay, so we do that every day, you know, like the same thing over again, you know. And so just like even shopping at the commissary was like something that I grew up with a little military background, but like having to like actually live, eat, breathe, like set of rules. Oh, that's so and so. I still don't even know all the names of like the ranks and stuff like that. Just I help my husband with his test, and then I just mind dump it all. But it's like, oh, that's so and so's wife. She's an officer, and we can't talk to them unless they invite us over, or we can't go over to our officer housing. We have to stay in enlisted housing. And it was like this big hierarchy that I didn't even know anything about. And then people would tell me about like, oh, do you have your place where your house, I don't even know what you call it, your plates and forks and knives, all that set. You know,
flatware.
Just your flatware, just in case so and so comes over and you have to cook a big meal for them. I'm just like, I know how to cook. Like, if anything, they're gonna be eating, you know. But it was just like so many rules and regulations, and I am really not good with rules. So just having that, or just having that same thing every day, and living in like a 5-mile radius of everything. Like, so I just started to get lost. Like who am I? Like, okay, I need to be like these people, because if I'm not, then my husband won't move up in ranks like he should, and how to support him. And I don't want to have a bad name for him. You know, I don't want him or so-and-so's wife to go back and tell her husband something, and then that goes down in that chain of command, and all of that stuff starts to happen. How can I keep my stuff private and not, you know, share everything? It was just like I was trapped in like this little Stafford bubble, almost like that Jim Carrey movie when he realizes that everything is fiction around him, and he's been on a movie set. Like, that's how I felt, you know, like it's always cameras watching me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was different.
Yeah. Because I mean, kind of we're always people watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you said that kind of left you feeling lost, and then ultimately you ended up spiraling into somewhat of a depression.
Yeah, after a while, like well, each one of my children, after that happy hormone leaves me, I would feel like different, and I just never expressed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had back-to-back children. So my first set were 17 months apart. And then driving over to San Diego, I didn't know I was pregnant. And I was pregnant. Like, I'm learning all of this stuff. And I'm homeschooling a kindergartner because I couldn't get him into the school that I wanted to when I first got here, because I didn't know about lotteries and stuff like that. And then to be pregnant. So to be pregnant and having like raging hormones, and you have a husband who's excited about being in the service and hanging out with his friends, and he's learning something new. mind you, we were young. He's learning something new and wanting to hang out with them. And, you know, they go out this place, go out that place. And I couldn't go. I'm pregnant. And then I don't have any friends. So like that experience being pregnant and like and always having a happy spirit, because that's how my grandmother raised me. Like, nope, be happy, be happy, be happy. And but really didn't trying to run away from the voice of saying that was in my head saying, but you're really not happy. But what do you got going on for yourself? So trying to find that, and then going back to school to get an associate's in something I knew I wasn't going to use, just to stay busy. I saw all these wives staying busy, and I just wanted to be busy doing something too, just to get my mind off of it, just to get my mind off of like, I'm really not happy. Like if I clean one more toilet bowl, if I like clean the walls again, and the kids, like I'm making them perfect, and you know, like they had to have a certain haircut, a certain clothing, a certain, you know, just making them super perfect, that I didn't know who I was. So I sunk deep, you know, but not as deep as the after. We can go into that later. But that was like my first realization with labeling depression. Something's off, but Stefen, you're BG. You can pull it back up. You can figure it out. It just takes some tweaking. It just takes some things. It takes some, you know, find out what you like and keep doing it. And that's what I kept trying to do. That's what I kept trying to do. But also seeing my husband, you know, happy kind of like ate me up inside, because I wasn't, and I didn't know how to make myself happy.
Yeah. That's good. That's good that you can articulate that, because on the one hand, you're really happy for him because he's living the dream. Literally, he's living the dream, and you have healthy children, and that's really what you want. But this pressure to keep up appearances, and the fact that there is such a stigma in saying, I feel depressed, or I feel, you know, people see that you have a beautiful family and that you are successful, and that you shouldn't have any kind of worries, right? That you shouldn't have any kinds of struggles. And for you to be able to say, but I kept hearing there was a voice inside that was saying, but you're really not happy, but you're really not happy, well, you're really not happy. And ultimately that ended up bubbling up to the surface for you.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. So how did that happen?
So it took some time. Like, I remember us moving from one housing area to another housing area. And it wasn't really like a big move. It was really like not like really down the street. But and having family visit, and just like people, and they're like, oh, you made it, you know, like that's the Black community. Like if you make it, like I mean, I was like, we're not making it. Like, do you understand it? We are like military makes absolutely no money, and like people think like you get into the military and you're rich, and it's not that. It is not. Whoa, no, not that. So having financial pressures, once we moved into another house and then had another baby, you know, because we were set with the first two. It was like, okay, we got it, you know, you're good with two because you figured it out. You think you're on top of the world. Then the third one comes in, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, you know. So it was like some financial pressure that was coming in, and things started breaking down, and you know, they stopped working. And then I started to gain, like I gained a lot with Dion, kind of, sort of, and just feeling kind of like not cute, like feeling kind of like, okay, I'm in San Diego, and it's these beautiful women running everywhere. You go to a beach and it's just like everybody looks great, and I'm just like, how do I get there again? And having to dig deep and find some other resources. And then I put myself all into working out. And then I lost the weight with Dion. And I was like, yes, lost the weight with Dion. You know, now I can be happy. Always now I can be happy, not being happy in the moment and being grateful for where I was. And then smack dab, 2 years later, I'm pregnant with Story.
Mm-hmm.
Story was amazing, you know, and that pregnancy was going really well, but I was also losing friends during that time. And then my cousin was very ill with cancer. And that started to play like tricks in my mind because we're 28 days apart. And we had the same amount of babies at the time, you know, and just thinking about her all the time and not being home and missing home and wanting to get grounded in some kind of way, but couldn't get back there because of financial. It was just like too expensive to get back to, you know, just a lot going on. And then, you know, having BG, oh, you're fine, you'll be great. And, you know, not having that parental support that I needed from my father or whatever. And so fast forward, I'm pregnant with Story. Sean is on a huge deployment during that time that was supposed to be 6 months. So he was supposed to be back by her birth, but it ended up being 9 months of a deployment. So yeah, and figuring out how like feed the kids, do everything, take this one to school, take that one to school, you know, do all that stuff, plus sweep the house and talk to the people outside, do community work. And, you know, like, I mean, for real, it would get to the point where our neighbors would say, well, I haven't seen you in a couple of days. And I was like, I was in the house folding clothes. I mean, like, it would be that intense where if they didn't see you, it was always a comment or something. Like, you could never like be in your house and just chill, you know, or like, Stefen, you're always like doing your thing, you know, like, yeah, like I am, you know, like I really am. And then, so pregnant with Story, having her, and I had so much happy hormones because I was happy. I was, you know, having a girl. And then, you know, I did have visitors. I had my mom, my aunt, and all of them came to help me to deliver her, which was a beautiful birth. But it was also the first birth that I didn't have with my husband.
Yeah.
And I was blessed to be able to call him and for him to be able to, for the CMC at the time to get in contact with him. And he was just pulling into a port in Bahrain. So the phones were available and everything, but hearing his voice over the phone while I had to push, and, you know, and this one I was having a natural birth. I had did everything to learn how to do the natural birth. So it was different. And not having him there was hard at first. You know, it was very rewarding to have my mother and my aunt and even my bestie at that time. And she still is, you know, so having her there, and it was like this big womanhood, and Story was being birthed in this womanhood, and it was great. But then going home, getting everybody back into a normal routine, I looked so happy, you know, and then like every time that happy hormone leaves me, I'm stuck in sadness. And having my husband coming back when she was like 3.5 months or so, I just wanted him here with me so bad. And then there was like other challenges of integrating your family back together after you've been on a deployment.
Yeah.
That then again, like, he was here now and I was still alone. I still felt alone. And as much as I like worked really hard to get the weight this time I wanted it even more. Like, I want to be like this chick on the magazine. It wasn't, I want to be Stefen anymore. I wanted to be someone else. And because I was tired of being Stefen. Stefen worked extremely too hard and was extremely lonely. And I just wanted to be someone else, someone different. And I found myself like searching like all the different good cheap ways, HCG diet, all these different diets and things. I found myself like smoking way too much of herbal essence and like just abusing myself in a way just to escape, to detach. Here I was with this beautiful family, this baby girl, and all I wanted to do was just throw everything away and just run away. To the point where like I just didn't want to be here anymore. And finding myself that dark, and I'm just like, who is this person? I've never been this person before. This is way too low. And being resentful. Like anytime somebody said anything to me, I would lash out. I would, just be like, I don't like you, and saying mean, hurtful things, and broke a lot of relationships. Because I was just so angry. So angry, so hurt. But no one really, and it's crazy because in that time, people just still looked at me as I was happy, because I've been so good at being happy that even if the little slight bit of my sadness, no one even noticed that tweak, because it was still happier than what people would call the normal. I really don't talk on strife or want to speak anything into existence. So I always speak highly, but behind closed doors, I would be like, so my kids kind of see it, but they always like, Mom, you still mommy, to them, they, but, and they were the closest things to me. They was the ones that see me day in, day out. But I just covered it up, did my best to remain happy to the outside world. But when I would close the doors, I would cry, just like sob miserably for hours and hours, and try to find some relief in just like hugging my children, which that ended up being like, I just wanted to escape and didn't want to do that either at one point. Yeah, just really hard.
Yeah. How did you move out of that space?
That space, it was not me who moved me out of that space. To be honest, it was a higher purpose, a higher being, a higher something. I just remember talking to myself, and this is after I had to get checked into the hospital. From friends knowing I was talking way too fast and doing all kind of things, and just kind of losing it. I had set up 2 businesses and everything in a, like, less than 6-month time period, and had everything, like, had a whole stack of like business jargon and writing up all of the things you have to do with business. I don't even know what they're called, like, because I still have some kind of fog. I still have some fog from that. So like just writing like my proposals and things, and getting all the articles and stuff established in the paper so I could even start the business, and having an LLC and then a nonprofit, and doing all this stuff out in the community. Boom, boom, boom. I was like going, and everybody was like, oh, great, she's going. That's Stefen. She's always been so active and so busy, and, no one saw it. And then posting like weird stuff on the internet, like, you gotta start, like doing this and doing that. And I was just go, 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 go. And I was so obsessed with what I had going on that most people just saw that as like beginner spirit of a business, as, that obsessed person you get to be when you look a little insane to everybody else in the world. But my insane was like really, really, really deep. And to the point where I wouldn't stop talking for like 20 minutes straight without a breath.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't sleep for like about 5 to 6 days straight.
Mm-hmm.
Like no sleep, not a nap, not nothing, just up. Even taking sedatives at the time to go to sleep, and it just didn't work. And then having to get checked into the hospital, and that was a whole experience. And in those 3 weeks there, I was talking to the voices that I was hearing, the give up your life, like this is it, but also the one was like, fight, fight, fight. You can do this. You can do this, Stefen. You're beautiful. And I would say, no, I'm not. And it would say, yes, you are. And this voice kept getting louder and louder and louder. And so I started to believe this voice that was saying, fight for your life. And I was like, yes, I'm going to fight for my life.
Yeah.
And that's being stripped away from my family, my kids, not knowing what kind of home, if I even had a home to go back to. I had destroyed it. And being able to see that, and just at that moment, I just did a lot of praying. I was in a padded room that I called my war room, where I would go in and fight the walls because I was angry for being there. But I also was very joyful and happy at the same time. So with mixed emotions, happy at the same time, because I knew that if I could get through this, if I said, God, if you could just be with me, you don't have to do this for me. You don't have to just show me that you're there. And if I can get through this, there's nothing in the world that I can't do. There's nothing that I can't come back from. And I'm going to come back from this. And I'm going to come back from this stronger, braver, fearless. Because when you're at the point where you're ready to give it all up and you make a choice to come back, then that you're surrendering you're surrendering to a higher power, to let that power to take over and to guide you. And that anything that can happen after that is all beautiful. It's all aligned for you to be where you are, to appreciate and to see the goodness in everything. I knew at that moment I needed to be there. I appreciated being there. And within just a few days, I was able to start dancing, start singing. I sung to Stevie Wonder and listened to all kind of uplifting music. I read books about Buddhism and learned about Les Brown and Zig Ziglar, and then it all just came to me. And then the nurses and stuff and the staff was like, this girl's different. No matter how many pills they gave me or shots and everything else that I had at that time, or they're telling me that I was delusional because I was happy. But yeah.
So then you're released and you decide to keep fighting. You hit a point of awakening. And so what is that part of the journey now looked like for you?
Okay. Came back home.
Mm-hmm.
That was hard. Having to pick up the pieces and to make amends and to apologize deeply and to understand and have to see it at other people's points when I was coming out. Like, I got this, you know? And then it was like, well, you did this, and having to be constantly reminded of what you did before you went in. And like, how can you say that you know God? You won't saying that you know God, you know? So having to do and deal with that it was fun. I know that sounds really strange, but it was actually really fun because I was just like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Like, I really am. Like, at this point, I am really apologetic, you know, about that. And where would you like me to either serve you to help you to get through this, or where would you like for me to where would you like for me to be friend, or would you like for me to leave you alone? Like, either way, I'm still going to survive. I kind of had this inner cockiness that, and I know that sounds strange, but this seed that was sown in me so deep that nobody could just like say anything that to me I didn't already have to see for myself and already experience and already felt it. So, you know, sorry. So where am I now? Now I'm at a place where it's bliss on the end of everything, but also suffrage in some certain things, with knowing that I still have human tendencies that I don't want, but they're still there. So like, I'm always like, oh, I know it's so blissful. And everyone's like, Stefen, can you come back down to reality? And I'm just like, but guys, you don't understand. I mean, like, what we're fighting for, what we're doing all of this for is like, it really doesn't matter. And they're just like, but it does. Like, right today, it does. So I'm super happy and grateful for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the smallest thing, when I even remember where I parked my car, I celebrate. Like, and I mean, people look at me crazy, especially coming out the store and I'm doing a little dance, like, woo, I know where I parked. But if they knew that it took so much strength for me to regain that, to regain how to read or how to hold a pencil from all the medicines and things that I was on, then they would see the joy in just breathing. You're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're here.
You're here. You're present. All of it is beautiful.
It is. I agree. I concur. I applaud you. Oh my gosh. What a story of triumph, Stefen. Oh my gosh. You are so courageous. You're so strong. I mean it, because what you went through from beginning to now would have, for a person who was not as strong as you, it would have broken them. The move would have broken them. The third baby would have broken them. The expectations of others would have broken them. The double businesses would have broken them. You have all these points where it could have broken you, and you were resilient, that you put together every piece, and you just kept building, and you kept pushing, and you kept pressing. And in the midst of that, that's why people say that they have joy that's unspeakable. It's inexplicable, the joy that you, and it's resilient. And the essence of that for you, what I see, is love. It's that love that is patient, it's kind, it keeps no record of wrong, it's long suffering, it believes all things, it hopes all things, it endures all things, it never fails.
Never
It
fails.
really never fails. And so I just, as someone who just loves you so much, really, and I know that I've not been, I haven't been to San Diego and all, but I've been, loving on you from 3,000 miles away. I'm so proud of you. I'm very proud of you for being able to and you have beautiful children.
No, thank you.
You do. You have beautiful children, and I have to say that. And you make a concerted effort to make sure that your children are wealthy in health, that they are knowledgeable, that they have meaningful experiences, that there's not a stone that you leave unturned for those children. And it's a testament to you as a mom, you as a woman, as a wife, that you consider the reputation of your husband, that you consider all these things, and now you have been courageous enough to consider yourself.
Mm.
So it's big that you've done that. So I know that I know I'm getting on and wipe my tear away, child.
I mean, you just laid it on me, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I'm humbled by that, and knowing that anyone can do the same,
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm only a reflection of someone else, of something else, and of you.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
that
and
is.
I and I say that because there's nothing in the world that I have that I feel like no one else can possess.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And what I also think that I'm really glad that you're able to share is that just breaking the back of the stigma of social media and this kind of perpetuation of these false realities. Because if people were just going to follow you, if they just followed your journey from the time you went to San Diego until now, there's so many different pieces of matter that shape the woman that you have become that we didn't see. Like we see your bounce back. We can see you working out. We can see you, communing with other people. Those same wives that you had to be out in the middle of the cul-de-sac in the circle with, you know, we see all that. Now I was one of those people. I was like, oh my God, she's so blessed. And I know you're blessed, but I didn't really consider, I never really considered whether or not you were happy. I considered the fact that you were blessed. And I remember saying, those women they're so blessed to have her around them. They don't even know. I remember it was one picture that you posted on social media where I guess you were in your backyard and you had like a Heineken or something with a few of your backyard friends and y'all were cooking out and you had on like some jean shorts and something like that. And I remember looking at that picture being like, they are so blessed to have her around them. I remember saying that. And I mean, everything else aside, I remember exactly how I felt in that moment. And I continue to stand firm with that. People are so blessed to have you around them, because as someone who had you around them for only 4 or 5 years, I felt so blessed to have you around me. And so you have to always know, what a blessing you are to so many people. So I want to keep encouraging you because you spend a lot of time now encouraging others. Your good morning, good morning, good mornings, your morning meditation. Yeah, I try to, because your good morning for you is like 10 in the morning for me. I'm like, what is Stefan up here doing? And then you have like a whole, I mean, really, I try to tune in when I can.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's just a way to brighten somebody else's day, man.
Mhm.
You never know where. That's definitely my purpose, to
Mhm.
inspire someone else that may be going through the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hidden. And the thing is, mental health is it's so important because sometimes you can see other types of afflictions if someone's in a wheelchair, you see that, and the sympathy for that person is automatically there. Or if you see someone even who is on the heavier end of, like, let's say even the autism spectrum, you can see that, and the sympathy for that person is there. But for someone who seems like they are joyful, the empathy, not even the sympathy, the empathy for that person doesn't always reside in you, and it's harder for someone to understand how the wiring could be off over time. Does that make sense? For self-neglect. Yeah. And so for you to be able to breathe life into that, having walked through that journey, and to come out on the other end of this thing more whole than when you first went in, then that's a beautiful thing. You are now an educator.
Yes. So definitely doing my best to actually pull together the pieces of the businesses that were made at the height of everything.
At the mania moments, yes.
Playing with words. At the height of everything. And working on a passion project of mine with Mind Over Food coaching. I got my health coaching certificate, my halfway point. Usually it's a 6 months course for some health coaches, but I chose the integrative path of a holistic approach. So it takes a year to complete that certification, and is definitely like very, very rooted, or how should I say, intense on the nutrition aspect, and is definitely something that I use and I practice to now today, not being on any medicines.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you. Thank you. All praises. Because from 16 to none, and holding on to that, yeah, and it was 16 a day, and because that's the culture here. When you're on government, it's like you're government assistance with the military, and that is pumped out like, you have a pill for this, have a pill for that, but learning what I'm learning about just being one in tune with nature, what's going on intuitively inside of me, and how rather to call something a title of a disease, more so an imbalance that you can actually, I use this loosely because I don't want to offend anyone, but you can actually tweak your imbalances to make them a little bit more balanced in your world.
Yeah.
And you can make things that might seem weird to other people work for you.
Yeah.
You and just playing around with that and getting to know, what does that feel like. I am a big advocate of, if you need medicine, take it, but there's a point where just, see what you can do.
Yeah.
Use what you can do and give it 100%, because at the end of the day, the doctor is not you. You're the person. And that's something that you have to hold on to, that this is about me. No one knows me more than me.
Right. Yeah.
And just be accountable for that and say, okay, well, I can do this differently. I can do that differently. Oh, I can look into this. And then I'm just on that path to be able to be certified, and I've been helping along the way, but to be certified to do that and help someone else and hold their hand along the way. And it just so happens that I'm a good cook, that individual, and can make those things taste delicious. And I also have a love and passion for children. Yeah. Because if anything in this world, I just want to leave footprints for my children to follow. And I've been raised that charity happens at home first. So, and working with my own children, I just grown a deep rooted passion, because these are the future. If I'm on 16 pills a day, God knows,
Yeah.
If genetics plays the course,
Yeah.
then what would that say for my children?
Yeah. Yeah. So you are on a journey of making the world a more holistic, well place. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So if people want to contact you, how would they get in touch with you if they wanted to glean some of your knowledge, or and certainly if they wanted to tune in to some of your meditations and some of your morning meditations? How are they able to reach you?
So the morning meditations are delivered by a sister of mine at Vitamin C Wellness through Kimmy, her wellness center. And you can go on to the Facebook Vitamin C Wellness and click on meditation and yoga. I air 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but live. And they can also, if you're in the San Diego region, you can actually join my class 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. So that's every Saturday at 8 a.m. Rise and shine. Or you can just simply pop me an email at mindoverfoodcoaching@gmail.com.
Okay.
So I respond quickly. Through email, I will give you every resource that I can. But it's just the avenue for you to be able to share with someone, or just knowing that you have somebody there. I remember telling you about not using your resources. You have a resource.
That's
you can
right.
use it. Yeah, please do it.
And all it takes is a message. I'm telling you, all it took was a message. Oh, I think how did we get? Not that we were disconnected, but you mentioned something on an Instagram post, and that was it when I interviewed someone else that we knew.
Yeah, you interviewed the young lady with the artwork. Yes, oh my gosh, that blew me away. Robinette, you have such, she was amazing. Don't get me wrong. She has beautiful story and pieces. But you, my sister, I just looked at that and I was like, I see her. I see what you're cultivating. I know what you're doing. I see your spirit. I see everything that you're putting out there, and you are coming back for us. Yeah. And I see it. And all the way through even J.B. Stewart, there's always been something tenacious, different about you, the debate clubs, that everything is just, but for you to have traveled the world, to learn all of the languages, to do all of that and still care to come back. Yeah. I see you.
Thank you.
And I applaud that so much, because that's not easy.
Thank you.
But you do it so well. You do it so well. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just so happy to be a part of that for you. Like, I see you, and you're beautiful.
Thank you.
You're beautiful, Robinette.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. I appreciate it. I really do. This journey called life is such a winding road. But for me, I mean that I'm not going to. I asked God, and I know this is your segment, so this is not about me, but and I probably will cut it out. But I asked God.
I wish that you wouldn't.
I did. I asked God, what do you want me to do? And mainly because I'm like the weeping prophet over here. I can't. It's because it's always confirmation. I'm always overcome with gratitude that I'm able to do anything God has designed for me to do, and that anybody notices or cares, and that it matters. So it really is just an offering to God, and I'm grateful to be able to do it. But I asked God, I said, okay, what do you want me to do? Because there's no way in the world that I would have, it's not by happenstance. A lot of people were afforded the opportunity to go to special programs. So what do you want me to do with it? And I was looking around stuff, and I saw people who, people can do hair, and, people can do nails, and people can do eyebrows, and people can sing, and some of the saints can play the piano, and, all kinds of other things to make people better, or to bring them joy, or something like that. And I said, oh, well, what am I supposed to be doing? And why do I have this particular skill set? And how do you get glory out of me? And I mean that I'm not going to leave this life without you getting every ounce of glory that you poured into me back out. And I looked around, and there's so many social justice issues. And one of the primary ones for me is education, and deliberate gaps in education. And I mean that I'm going to live every ounce of my life bridging those gaps, righting those wrongs, and making things accessible that people try to deliberately make inaccessible. So I'm very grateful that you're able to see that, and I'm humbled by it, quite honestly. Yes. So then there's that.
Yes. I have a huge delay, so probably 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll probably wake up crying.
Oh no, it's okay. I can't get one compliment without crying. It's really sad. It's like you're nice. I'm like, oh.
No, girl, I have a delay, but you're amazing. I see you, and I think you're just beautiful. As my grandma said, girl, you're gorgeous.
Girl, you're gorgeous. Thank you. And likewise, I push that energy right back on you. We send that energy vertically. We place it horizontally. And I'm just very grateful. I'm very grateful to be connected to you. I pray that grace and mercy are overflowing for you. I pray that this is not our last or only connection. I pray that peace rests in you, and it anchors you all the way through the longevity of your life. I pray for blessings and peace to rest in your children. I back up the enemy attack at mental deconstruction with them, because I speak liberty into your bloodline, and whom the sun sets free is free indeed. The work that you did was the work that was needed in order to break the generational curses from your bloodline, Stefen. So it took you to be in a padded room to literally fight your way physically and mentally and spiritually out of that, in order for you to break the back of oppression that was trying to reign over your family line. I pray that you are settled and that you stay grounded and rooted. I pray for the future of your children and of the generations, that they will bless as a result of the seeds that you're sowing. I speak divine cultivation into you. I speak protection over your husband. I speak a connected family unit into you, and that you will be around for your children for decades and decades to come. I speak glory that will come your way as a result of your diligence. I decree, I declare it. I say it is so, according to the power that rests in me as a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And it shall come to pass.
Amen.
Amen.
May all that be reflected back on you.
And it is so. Amen. Thank you for tuning in to this segment of Business Acumen with Cross Cultural Talks. Be sure to tune in next Saturday at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another virtual segment as we continue in our Wonders of Wellness series. Don't forget to go and be great on purpose. God bless you.